Captain Al stood on the bridge of the hegemony destroyer Vengeance Eternal, watching the stars through the main. His scaled hands gripped the command rail as he studied the sensor readings. The ship had been patrolling the outer rim for 3 weeks now, looking for trouble. The hegemony always needed enemies to fight, and Al was eager to find some. The communication officer, a young female named looked up from her station with confusion written across her blue face. "Captain, I am picking up a strange transmission. It is broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through the speakers," Al ordered, his voice carrying the authority that came with years of successful campaigns against weaker species. The bridge fell silent as an automated message filled the air. The words came in dozens of different languages, one after another, but the universal translator made the meaning clear to everyone present. "Warning to all vessels. Do not attack human ships. Do not engage human vessels. Do not pursue human craft. This message comes from the Galactic Council. Repeat, do not attack the human ship. The consequences will be severe. This is not a request. This is a warning." The message repeated several times before falling silent. Al's crew looked around at each other with puzzled expressions. Some of them started to laugh. "Humans," said Commander Ash, the ship's second in command. "Those primitive creatures from the edge of known space. They only discovered faster-than-light travel 50 of their years ago. What threat could they possibly be?" Al smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Exactly my thoughts, Commander. The Galactic Council has grown soft. They fear shadows and whispers now." Raised her hand hesitantly. "Captain, the message seemed very serious. Perhaps we should." "Should what?" Al interrupted. "Should we fear a species that barely knows how to leave their home system? Should we tremble before creatures who have no real weapons or military power?" He laughed loudly. "The hegemony does not run from weaklings." The tactical officer suddenly spoke up. "Captain, I have a contact on sensors. It appears to be a human vessel." Al's eyes lit up with interest. "Show me." The main screen changed to display a ship limping through space. It was smaller than the hegemony destroyer, with strange curved lines and obvious battle damage. Burn marks covered its hull, and one of its engine pods was completely dark. "Interesting," Al murmured. "They have been in a fight recently. Scan the vessel for life signs and weapons." The tactical officer worked at his station for several moments. "The ship carries approximately 200 life forms. Their weapons are minimal, some energy cannons and basic shield generators. Nothing that could threaten us." Spoke up again, her voice nervous. "Captain, the warning message is still broadcasting. Perhaps this ship is exactly what the Galactic Council was talking about. Maybe we should contact them first, ask them to leave our space peacefully." Al turned to look at her with cold eyes. "Are you questioning my judgment, communications officer?" "No, sir, I just think." "You think too much," Al said sharply. "This is an opportunity, a chance to show the galaxy that the hegemony does not bow to warnings from weak councils or primitive species. We will capture this vessel and interrogate its crew. Perhaps we can learn something useful about human technology and weaknesses." Commander Ash nodded in agreement. "The crew will be pleased to have some action, Captain. We have been on patrol for too long without finding any enemies to fight." "Then let us give them what they want," Al said. He pressed the communication button. "This is Captain Al of the hegemony destroyer Vengeance Eternal. Human vessel, you have entered hegemony space without permission. Surrender immediately or we will open fire." The response came quickly. A human female appeared on the screen, her brown hair pulled back and her uniform torn and dirty. Behind her, the bridge of her ship showed signs of recent damage. Emergency lights cast red shadows across her face. "This is Captain Sarah of the exploration vessel Terran Wanderer," she said, her voice calm despite her obvious exhaustion. "We are not looking for trouble. We are simply trying to return home after a diplomatic mission. We request safe passage through your space." Al studied the human captain. She looked fragile, like most of her species. Humans were known to be physically weak compared to most galactic races. Their bones broke easily, their skin was thin, and they had no natural weapons like claws or armor. "You request safe passage," Al laughed. "You are in no position to request anything. Your ship is damaged and weak. Surrender now, and we will treat you with the mercy that the hegemony shows to all inferior species." Captain's expression did not change, but something shifted in her eyes. "Captain Al, I strongly advise against any hostile action. You do not understand what you are doing." "I understand perfectly," Al replied. "I see a damaged ship from a primitive species, trying to intimidate the mighty hegemony with empty threats. Your Galactic Council friends are not here to protect you now." The human captain was quiet for a moment, looking directly into the camera. When she spoke again, her voice carried a sadness that seemed out of place. "Captain, my ship has been to the far rim of the galaxy. We have seen things that would terrify you. We carry information that could save your people and mine from a terrible threat. We have lost half our crew trying to bring this knowledge back to those who need it. Please, let us pass in peace." I looked up from her station again. "Captain, perhaps we should listen to her. The warning messages are still coming in from multiple sources. There might be something we do not understand about." "Silence," Al roared. "I will not have my crew questioning orders because of fairy tales and warnings from cowards." He turned back to the screen. "Human captain, you have 30 seconds to lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. If you refuse, we will take your ship by force." Captain closed her eyes for a moment, as if she was thinking about something very difficult. When she opened them again, there was a resolve there that made Al slightly uncomfortable. "Very well," she said quietly. "You have made your choice. I am sorry for what happens next." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Vengeance eternal in sudden silence. Captain Al stared at the blank screen where the human captain had been moments before. Her final words echoed in his mind, but he pushed away any doubt. The hegemony had conquered dozens of species. Humans would be no different. "Captain," the tactical officer reported, "the human vessel is not lowering its shields. Should we open fire?" "Yes, target their engines and weapon systems. I want them alive for questioning." Al settled back into his command chair. "Show these primitives the power of the hegemony." The destroyer's main guns fired, sending bright energy beams across space toward the damaged human ship. The first volley struck the Terran Wanderer's shields, which flared and held for a moment before failing completely. The second volley hit the hull directly, causing explosions along the ship's side. "Direct hits," the tactical officer announced with satisfaction. "Their shields are down, hull breaches detected on multiple decks." I looked up from her station, her face pale. "Captain, I am receiving multiple transmissions from the human ship. They are not surrender messages." "What are they saying?" Al demanded. "They are sending coded messages too. I am not sure. The signals are very powerful and directed toward human space. Also, there are transmissions going to multiple Galactic Council worlds." Al frowned. "Even in defeat, the humans were trying to cause trouble. Can you stop the transmissions?" "No, sir. They are using some kind of technology I do not recognize. The signals are getting through our jamming systems." On the screen, the human ship drifted helplessly. Fires burned along its hull, and atmosphere leaked from several holes. It looked like it would break apart at any moment. The communication system activated again. Captain appeared once more, but this time her bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. Blood ran down the side of her face from a cut on her forehead. "Captain Al," she said, her voice still somehow steady, "this is your last chance to stop this madness. Break off your attack and leave us alone. You do not know what you have started." Al laughed. "What I have started? I have started the destruction of your pathetic vessel. Look around you, human. Your ship is dying. Your people are dying. This is what happens when primitives challenge their superiors. Behind Captain, other humans moved around their damaged bridge. They worked with calm efficiency despite the obvious danger. None of them seemed afraid, which struck Al as strange. Most species would be screaming in panic by now. "You think this is about one ship," said quietly. "You think this is about us. You are wrong. This is about something much bigger than you can imagine." "More threats," Al shook his head. "Your people are 50 years behind the rest of the galaxy. What could you possibly do to threaten the hegemony?" Captain looked directly into the camera. For a moment, Al saw something in her eyes that made him uncomfortable. It was not fear or anger. It was sadness mixed with something else. Something that looked almost like pity. "Captain," she said, "my ship was returning from a mission to the outer void. We made contact with a species called the Devourers. They are coming this way, destroying everything in their path. We have evidence. We have recordings. We have the location of their fleet and information about their weapons. This data could save billions of lives." "Lies," Al said, but something in her voice made him hesitate. "We lost half our crew getting this information. Good people died to bring this warning to the galaxy. Now you are going to destroy it all because you wanted to prove how strong you are." Paused, looking at something off-screen. "My people know what happened here. They know you attacked us without cause, despite all the warnings." I interrupted urgently. "Captain, the transmissions from the human ship are being answered. I am detecting response signals from human space. Lots of them." Al ignored her. "Even if your story is true, human, it changes nothing. You entered hegemony space. You refused to surrender. The consequences are yours to bear." Captain nodded slowly. "Yes, they are, but the consequences will not end with us." She looked at her crew, then back at the camera. "My tactical officer is telling me that you are charging weapons for another attack. Are you planning to destroy us completely?" "If necessary," Al replied. "Surrender now and some of your people might live." "I see," was quiet for a moment. "In that case, there is something you should know about humans, Captain. We do not surrender, we do not break, and we do not forget." She reached forward and pressed several buttons on her console. "Computer, implement Protocol 7. Authorization Alpha 77. "What is Protocol 7? Al demanded. Captain looked at him one last time. "Protocol 7 means that our mission has failed through hostile action. It means that the data we carry cannot be allowed to fall into the wrong hands. It means that our attackers have made themselves enemies of humanity." Warning lights began flashing on the human ship's bridge. An automated voice could be heard in the background, counting down from 10. "You are going to self-destruct." Al could not hide his surprise. "That is madness. You will kill your entire crew." "Yes, we will. But our deaths will be recorded. Our final messages are already on their way to human space and to the Galactic Council. Everyone will know what happened here. Everyone will know that the hegemony attacked a peaceful exploration vessel carrying vital information about a threat to all life in the galaxy." The countdown reached 5. "Captain," Commander Ash said urgently, "perhaps we should move away from the human ship." 4, 3, 2. Captain looked directly at Al. "Tell me, Captain, did anyone ever explain to you why the galaxy is so afraid of humans? Did anyone tell you what happened the last time someone attacked us without provocation?" The countdown reached 0. The Terran Wanderer disappeared in a ball of white light. The explosion was far more powerful than it should have been for a ship that size. The shockwave hit the Vengeance Eternal and sent it tumbling through space. When the emergency lights stopped flashing and the crew regained control, they found themselves alone in empty space. Where the human ship had been, there was nothing but debris and fading energy signatures. "Damage report," Al ordered, his voice shaken. "Minor hull damage, no casualties," reported the tactical officer. "But Captain, that explosion, it was not normal. They must have overloaded their entire power system." Looked up from her station, fear clear in her eyes. "Captain, the human transmissions are still going out. The signals are getting stronger, and I am detecting something else." "What?" "Ships, sir. Lots of ships. They are coming from human space and they are coming fast." Admiral stood in the command center of Hegemony's Central Fleet, studying the reports that kept flooding in from across their territory. Each message brought worse news than the last. The destruction of one human ship had somehow triggered the largest military response the galaxy had seen in centuries. "Admiral," his aide said nervously, "we are receiving communication requests from 17 different species. The Galactic Council is demanding immediate talks. The trade unions are threatening to cut all business with us." "Let them talk," growled, though privately he was beginning to worry. "What is the status of our border defenses?" "Sir, that is the problem. Human ships are appearing everywhere, not just at our borders but deep inside our space. They seem to be coming from directions that should be impossible." The aide activated the main display, showing a map of Hegemony space. Red dots marked human ship positions, and there were far too many of them. Worse, they were moving in patterns that made no military sense. "How many ships are we dealing with?" demanded. "We estimate over 3,000 vessels, sir, but they are not all military ships. Our intelligence shows converted civilian vessels, mining ships with military weapons, and many designs we do not recognize at all." Studied the display with growing unease. In all his years of military service, he had never seen anything like this. When the Hegemony went to war, they sent organized fleets with clear objectives. This looked more like an entire civilization had simply dropped everything and rushed to battle. "What about Captain Al? Have we heard from the Vengeance Eternal?" "Yes, sir. He is requesting immediate backup. He reports that human ships are surrounding his position, but they are not attacking yet. They are just waiting." "Waiting for what?" Before the aide could answer, the communication system activated. The face of an elderly human appeared on the screen. His gray hair was cut short in military fashion, and his uniform was dark blue with gold markings. Behind him, the bridge of his ship bustled with activity. "I am Admiral Reeves of the Human Defense Fleet," the man said in a voice that carried decades of authority. "I am speaking to the leadership of the Hegemony. You have attacked one of our ships and murdered our people. We demand an immediate explanation." Admiral stepped forward. "I am Admiral. The vessel in question entered our space without permission. When ordered to surrender, they refused and chose to destroy themselves rather than submit to lawful authority." Admiral Reeves was quiet for a moment, his eyes studying carefully. "Admiral, do you know what the Terran Wanderer was doing in this region of space?" "Your captain claimed they were returning from some kind of diplomatic mission. She spoke of threats and dangers, but provided no proof." "No proof?" Admiral Reeves leaned forward. "Captain and her crew spent 6 months in the outer void, making first contact with a hostile species that has already destroyed 12 worlds. They gathered intelligence that could save billions of lives across the galaxy. That information died with them when your captain decided to attack a damaged exploration vessel." Felt a cold weight settling in his stomach. If this is true, why was there no advance notice? Why did your people not coordinate with galactic authorities? "Because the threat was immediate and the communication networks in the outer void are unreliable. Captain was racing home to deliver her report when your people murdered her and her crew." Admiral Reeves' voice remained calm, but there was something dangerous underneath it. "Tell me, Admiral, are you familiar with human history?" "We know you are a young species with limited military experience," replied, trying to regain control of the conversation. Admiral Reeves smiled, but there was no humor in it. 50 years ago, a species called the Devourers attacked Earth. They came without warning, landed on our planet, and began systematically killing our people. Do you know what happened to them?" Had heard rumors, but he had never paid much attention to them. I believe they were defeated. Defeated. Admiral Reeves repeated the word slowly. Admiral, in 6 months, humanity hunted the Devourers across 40 star systems. We destroyed every ship they had, conquered every world they controlled, and eliminated their entire species from existence. Not defeated, erased. The command center had grown very quiet. Every officer was listening to the conversation now. That was a long time ago, said, though his voice lacked conviction. Yes, it was. Since then, we have tried very hard to be peaceful. We explore new worlds, make friends with other species, and avoid conflicts whenever possible. We sent warnings to everyone in the galaxy. Do not attack human ships. Do not threaten human civilians. Do not force us to become what we were 50 years ago. Admiral Reeves stood up, and the camera followed him as he walked to another station on his bridge. Your Captain Al ignored those warnings. He saw a damaged ship full of wounded people carrying vital information, and he chose to attack. Now my people are angry, Admiral. Very angry. How angry? Asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know the answer. Every human fleet in known space is moving toward hegemony territory. Every civilian ship that can carry weapons has been converted to military use. Every colony world has sent their defense forces. Even our mining ships are coming, because they carry the tools we use to break apart planets for resources. The aide looked up from his station with panic in his eyes. Admiral, our border stations are reporting massive human fleet movements. They estimate over 10,000 ships now, and more arriving every hour. Admiral Reeves heard the report through the open communication. Only 10,000. We are still gathering our forces. By tomorrow, there will be 50,000. By next week, 100,000. What do you want from us? Demanded. We want Captain Al and his crew handed over for trial. We want a formal apology from your government. We want reparations paid to the families of the crew who died. And we want a guarantee that hegemony forces will never again attack human vessels. Straightened his shoulders. The hegemony does not bow to demands from any species, no matter how many ships you bring. Admiral Reeves walked back to his command chair and sat down slowly. I was hoping you would say that, Admiral. You see, after 50 years of peace, many of my people have forgotten what war really means. Some of them have started to think that maybe we should try to be more like other species, more diplomatic, more willing to compromise. And now you have reminded them why the galaxy fears us. You have shown them that no matter how peaceful we try to be, there will always be species like yours that see kindness as weakness. Admiral Reeves looked directly into the camera. Thank you for that lesson, Admiral. My people needed to remember who they really are. The transmission ended, leaving the Hegemony Command Center in stunned silence. The aide spoke up hesitantly. Admiral, what are your orders? Stared at the blank screen for a long moment. Contact Captain Al. Tell him to prepare for battle. Sir, should we also contact our allies? Request assistance. Admiral looked at the display showing thousands of human ships moving toward their territory like a gathering storm. No, he said quietly. I do not think anyone is going to want to help us with this. Captain Al watched through the main screen as human ships surrounded his destroyer. The Vengeance Eternal was completely outnumbered. Dozens of human vessels had appeared around his position, and they were unlike anything he had seen before. Some were clearly military ships, sleek and dangerous looking. Others appeared to be converted civilian vessels, bristling with hastily mounted weapons. The strangest ones were massive industrial ships that seemed to bend space around them in ways that hurt to look at. Captain, a reported, her voice shaking, I am detecting more ships arriving every few minutes. The humans are not just surrounding us. They are surrounding everything. Our entire fleet, our space stations, even our home worlds. The communication system activated, showing Admiral Reeves again. This time, however, he was not alone. Behind him stood other human officers, their faces grim and determined. "Captain Al," Admiral Reeves said, "you are going to surrender your ship and crew immediately. You will be taken into custody to face trial for the murder of Captain and her crew." Al's pride flared. "I will not surrender to primitives. The hegemony fleet will come for me." "Look around you, Captain. Look at your sensors. Your fleet is gone." Al turned to his tactical officer. "What is he talking about? Where is Admiral's fleet?" The tactical officer worked frantically at his station, his face growing pale. "Captain, I am not detecting any hegemony vessels. None at all. The entire Central Fleet appears to have been eliminated." "Impossible. The Central Fleet had over 200 ships." Admiral Reeves heard the exchange through the open channel. "That is correct, Captain. Your Central Fleet engaged our forces approximately 6 hours ago. The battle lasted 17 minutes. There were no survivors." The bridge of the Vengeance Eternal fell silent. 200 ships destroyed in 17 minutes. It seemed impossible, but the sensor readings confirmed it. There were no hegemony signals anywhere in the area. "You are monsters," Al whispered. "No, Captain. We are what you made us. 50 years ago, when the Devourers attacked Earth, they taught us something important. They taught us that sometimes peace is only possible through the complete destruction of those who threaten it." On the screen, Admiral Reeves gestured to someone off-camera. The image split, showing multiple views of hegemony space. Every major world, every space station, every military installation was surrounded by human ships. "Your government has 3 hours to surrender unconditionally," Admiral Reeves continued. "If they refuse, we will begin what we call total pacification. Every military target in your space will be destroyed. Every government building will be eliminated. Every leader who gave orders to attack our people will be hunted down." Commander Ash spoke up desperately. "Admiral, surely you do not mean to attack civilian populations." "We do not target civilians, Commander, but we will destroy the infrastructure that supports your military. Your factories, your shipyards, your communication networks, your power systems. When we are finished, your people will be free from the government that led them into this war." Al stared at the display in horror. "You would destroy entire civilizations." "We would prefer not to," Admiral Reeves admitted. "That is why we sent warnings to everyone in the galaxy. Do not attack human ships. Do not threaten human people. Do not force us to show you what we are truly capable of." The tactical officer suddenly looked up from his station. "Captain, I am detecting massive energy signatures from the human ships. They appear to be charging some kind of weapons system." Admiral Reeves nodded. "Gravity cannons, Captain. They can tear apart a planet's core, causing it to collapse in on itself. Very effective against military installations built underground. We also have weapons that can reduce an entire fleet to its basic atoms in minutes." "How do you have such technology?" I asked in disbelief. "You are supposed to be a young species." "Young in space travel, yes. But when the Devourers attacked our home world, we developed new technologies very quickly. Fear and anger are powerful motivators for scientific advancement." Admiral Reeves leaned forward. "Let me tell you what happened during the Devourer War so you understand what you are facing. When they landed on Earth, they killed 3 billion humans in the first week. Entire cities were destroyed. Families were torn apart. Children were used as food sources." The human admiral's voice remained calm, but there was something terrible in his eyes. "We tried to negotiate. We tried to surrender. We tried to reason with them. They were not interested in anything except our complete extinction, so we stopped trying to be reasonable." "What did you do?" Al found himself asking, though he was not sure he wanted to know. "We became what they forced us to become. We developed weapons that could destroy entire star systems. We created viruses that targeted their specific biology. We built ships that could travel faster than anything they had. And then we hunted them across the galaxy until there were none left. Admiral Reeves stood up. The technology we developed during that war sits in storage on every human world. We hope never to use it again. We tried to be peaceful explorers instead of warriors, but you have reminded us that the galaxy still contains species that see peace as weakness. The display showed human ships moving into attack positions around hegemony worlds. The formations were perfect, every ship positioned exactly where it needed to be for maximum effectiveness. Your government has 2 hours and 37 minutes to surrender, Admiral Reeves announced. If they do not, we will demonstrate what total pacification means. And when we are finished, we will make sure that every species in the galaxy understands exactly what happens when you attack human ships. Al slumped in his command chair. What do you want us to do? Lower your shields. Prepare to be boarded. Your crew will be treated fairly, but you and your senior officers will face trial for murder. And if we refuse? Admiral Reeves looked at him with something that might have been pity. Captain, you are surrounded by ships that can reduce your vessel to dust in seconds. Your choice is simple: surrender and live, or fight and die. Al looked around his bridge at his crew. These people had followed him loyally for years. They did not deserve to die because of his pride. What about our families, our worlds? That depends on your government's decision. If they surrender, your people will be allowed to live in peace under galactic oversight. If they choose to fight, Admiral Reeves shrugged. History will record that the hegemony chose extinction rather than admit they were wrong. Al closed his eyes, thinking about Captain's final words. She had tried to warn him. She had told him he did not understand what he was doing. Now he understood completely. Lower our shields, he ordered quietly. Al looked at him in surprise. Captain. Lower our shields and prepare for boarding. We surrender. As the human ships moved closer, Al wondered if his government would be wise enough to do the same. Somehow, he doubted it. 3 months later, the galaxy was a very different place. Ambassador of the Galactic Council stood in what had once been the hegemony's capital city, watching human engineers work to restore the power grid. The war had ended exactly as Admiral Reeves had promised, with the complete elimination of the hegemony as a political entity. The humans had kept their word about civilian populations. No innocent people had been harmed, but every military installation, every government building, and every symbol of hegemony authority had been systematically destroyed. The precision had been terrifying to witness. Ambassador, his aide said quietly, the human admiral is ready to see you now. Nodded and walked toward the temporary command center that the humans had established. Admiral Reeves sat behind a simple desk, reviewing reports from across former hegemony space. He looked tired, but his eyes still held the steel that had made the galaxy tremble. Admiral said formally, I bring the final surrender documents from the last hegemony holdouts. All resistance has ended. Admiral Reeves accepted the documents and signed them without reading them. Good. How many casualties? Among hegemony civilians. None, as you promised. Among their military forces. Paused, checking his notes. Complete losses. No hegemony military personnel survived the war. And their leaders. Those who ordered the attack on the Terran Wanderer have been executed. The others have been exiled to penal worlds. They will live, but they will never hold power again. Admiral Reeves nodded and stood up. Through the window, they could see human ships preparing to leave orbit. The massive fleet that had appeared almost overnight was already beginning to disperse. What will happen to the former hegemony worlds? Asked. They will govern themselves with oversight from the Galactic Council. We have no interest in ruling other species. We never did. Admiral Reeves walked to the window. We just wanted to be left alone. Admiral, if I may ask, the weapons you used, the technology you demonstrated, how long have humans possessed such capabilities? Admiral Reeves was quiet for a moment. Since the Devourer War, we developed them out of necessity, then locked them away, hoping never to use them again. For 50 years, we tried to forget what we were capable of. And now the galaxy knows. Perhaps that is for the best. Hesitated before asking his next question. The information that Captain was carrying, the threat from the outer void, do you know what it contained? Admiral Reeves turned from the window, his expression growing dark. We recovered some data from the transmission logs of the Terran Wanderer. Captain was right. There is something coming from beyond known space, something that makes the old Devourers look like children. What will you do? What we always do when faced with threats to humanity. We will prepare, we will build better weapons, we will train harder, and when the enemy arrives, we will be ready. Admiral Reeves looked back out the window. The difference this time is that we will not face it alone. The galaxy has seen what happens when humans go to war by ourselves. Perhaps they would prefer to have us as allies. Nodded slowly. The Galactic Council has already begun drafting new defense protocols. Many species are requesting closer ties with humanity. Good, because if the data Captain died protecting is accurate, we are going to need all the help we can get. A human officer approached and saluted. Admiral, the last transport ships are loaded. All human personnel are ready to depart. Admiral Reeves nodded. Very well. Signal all ships to prepare for departure. He turned back to, Ambassador, please make sure the new message is broadcast on all frequencies. Of course, Admiral. What should it say? Admiral Reeves walked toward the door, pausing to look back one final time. The same thing it always said. Do not attack human ships. Do not threaten human people. Do not force us to remind you what we are capable of. As the human fleet disappeared into hyperspace, activated the planetary communication system. The new warning message began broadcasting immediately, carried by relay stations across the galaxy. Warning to all species and governments. Humanity has demonstrated their military capabilities in response to unprovoked aggression against their people. The complete elimination of the hegemony serves as a permanent reminder that attacks on human vessels will result in total retaliation. This message is endorsed by the Galactic Council and broadcast in memory of the hegemony worlds, so that their fate serves as a warning to others. The message continued with details about the short war, the overwhelming human response, and the consequences faced by those who ignored the warnings. But at the end, there was something new. Humanity has also demonstrated their commitment to protecting innocent life and their willingness to share defensive technology with allied species. The Galactic Council encourages all worlds to consider the benefits of peaceful cooperation with human forces in preparation for future threats to galactic security. On the abandoned bridge of the destroyed Hegemony Command Station, Captain Al sat in a prison cell, listening to the broadcast. He had survived the war barely, and now faced the rest of his life thinking about his choices. His cell had a small window that looked out into space. Sometimes he watched human ships passing by, their sleek forms cutting through the darkness with purpose and power. He remembered Captain's final words, her warning that he did not understand what he was doing. She had been right about everything. The Terran Wanderer had carried information about a threat that could destroy them all. Her crew had died trying to save the galaxy, and his pride had turned their sacrifice into the trigger for a war. The prison guard, a human soldier, brought him his daily meal. She was young, probably no older than his own daughter had been before the war. Her uniform was crisp and professional, and she treated him with polite respect despite what he had done. "Guard," he said quietly, "may I ask you something?" She paused at the cell door. "What is it?" "Do you hate us for what we did to your people?" The young human considered the question carefully. "I hate what happened to Captain and her crew. I hate that your people forced us to become killers again. but I do not hate you personally." "Why not?" She looked at him with eyes that seemed far too old for her face. "Because hate is what starts wars, and humans have learned that sometimes. Ending a war requires becoming something terrible. We prefer not to be terrible unless we have no choice." As she walked away, Al returned to his window. In the distance, he could see construction ships working to build a new space station. Human and alien workers labored side by side, creating something better from the ruins of what had been destroyed. Perhaps there was hope for the galaxy after all. Perhaps Captain's sacrifice had not been completely in vain. The information she died protecting might still save them from the greater threat that was coming. But one thing was certain. No one would ever again make the mistake of attacking a human ship. The galaxy had learned that lesson in Fire and Steel, and the memory would last for generations to come. The warning broadcast continued, carried by subspace transmissions to every corner of known space. "Do not attack the human ship. The galaxy has spoken in terror. Humanity has spoken in fire.